I'm going to take you through the steps in the research process, but before I begin, I just want to remind you that your research paper is due on December 14th. This is a Monday. This is what the final exam schedule and the syllabus says. Sorry if there was some confusion about that. But on December 14th, you will be turning in a folder which will include the final draft of your research paper, your works cited, your research notes and outline, and your research proposal. So this document, the steps in the research process, is really valuable for you to fill out. However, I will not collect it. It is a way for you to start getting organized, get your thought processes in order before you start writing your paper. So let's go through the different steps. Remember, your topic can be about anything related to education. Choose something that really interests you. I don't want you to spend time writing about something you don't really care about. So at this point, we all have a working knowledge about different aspects of American education as well as education abroad, and there must be an idea or something that really resonated with you. So whatever that something is, go with it. Go deeper into it and allow that to be your research. So I have been thinking a lot about what I'm interested in, and I'm going to show you the process that I've gone through in researching this topic. So step one is to form a research question. So the broad research question that I came up with was, what are the strengths of the American education system? Because I was feeling a little bit glum about learning about all of the weaknesses and the problems, so I want to be focusing on something positive for my research paper. However, I have to look at this question carefully. Can I write about this in 5 pages? No. This question is too broad. So I'm going to have to narrow it down and focus it. I'm going to think back on some of the essays that talked about the strengths of the American education system. So mostly it's catching up or leading the way. His whole chapter 3 is dedicated to the strengths of American education. However, Zachariah talks about some of our strengths. I think I'll probably want to compare and contrast, so I'm going to look at Finland's school strengths and compare those to America's strengths. And I think I'm going to probably use some information from The Trouble with Talent by Kathy Seal, because I'll want to use a counter argument. And she criticizes the American mindset and the mindset we have towards intelligence, right? But Yang Zhao actually flips what she says on its head. So I'm probably going to refer to her ideas as my counter argument. So I highly recommend that you guys use, because you need 5 different sources, use what you already know. You're going to need to be looking for sources in the database and online, but you can also use some of the articles we've read because you have their background knowledge for you at this point. So I've got my question. Strengths of American education, but I need to narrow it down. So, particularly what interests me the most was that section in chapter 3 where Zhao says, children are like popcorn. I love that metaphor. He says that in our education system in America, we give children ample time to bloom, meaning some people bloom in their strengths at an early age, and they discover those things at an early age, but we also give children and adults even a chance to explore their strengths at different times. Just like popcorn pops at different times, so do children. So this idea revolves around second chances. And this is what really focused or really interested me. So I'm narrowing down my question to what are the effects of second chances in the American education system? I'm really interested in this. So let's see. I'm going to focus my research on this idea of second chances. So the next thing that you need to do is examine your focused research question and go a little bit more in depth just to get you initially organized. Before you're not even writing yet. You're not even researching, you're just starting to think about the layout of your overall research paper. So first, you want to determine the organizational focus, you want to determine the audience, and the purpose. Why are you even writing this? So the topic I've written, it's going to be about second chances in the American education system. Then I'm going to think of some potential subtopics. How am I going to lay out, what are my body paragraphs going to be about? How am I going to break this topic down? So I've thought about this carefully, and I'm going to talk about in my body paragraphs the meaning of second chances, right? The different types of second chances that the education system offers. I'm going to look into community colleges. Those are second chance institutions. Going to look into prison education and the different opportunities the government gives to people who have gotten out of prison to complete their education. And then the Gateway to College program, which is something that Laney offers. These are all examples of giving people another chance to complete their education. Then I'm going to talk about the effects of having a second chance, and I'm also going to look into what other countries are doing and whether or not they offer second chances and what the effects are. So I think I can definitely explore these different topics and write about them in 5 pages. So my main organization structure, that's what's next. I'm going to have to organize it probably into cause and effect, right? And compare and contrast. So I'll be using these different types of organizational strategies and the language that goes with each in order to write this paper. Next, I'm determining the kind of information I'll need to research. So I started with the children are like popcorn section in Zhao's book, and from there I will take my research further. And the purpose of this paper, I think, is to educate and inform the American public and foreigners about this unique aspect to our educational system and talk about the benefits. So it's going to probably be persuasive and educational. That's the goal. Okay, moving on to step 4. Once I have the layout and the structure of my paper sort of in my mind, I want to start gathering evidence, and this is the most important step. And I've provided you guys a template for gathering your evidence and taking notes, and here it is. So this will really, really help you. You're going to turn this into me at the end, and I just really want to encourage you to fill this out before you even start writing, because this will make the process of writing so much easier. So as you go reading and gathering evidence, take notes on the different evidence from the different sources that will support your points. You want to divide up your outline into subtopics. Remember, subtopics are those level 1 ideas. They're ideas that you can develop further. They're not going to be specific examples. They're not going to be specific facts. Those are not subtopics. Subtopics are broad ideas that can be developed. These are subtopics, right? The meaning of second chances, the different types of second chances, the effects of having a second chance, effects or second chances in Europe, right? Those things are broad. I can write several paragraphs about those subtopics, okay? So look for evidence that supports each subtopic and organize that evidence under the subtopic, okay? So here, if my first subtopic is on the meaning of second chances, then I'm going to be collecting different evidence, all related to what second chances mean in American education, and listing it here. This will help me when I start to write and start to incorporate my I say along with this evidence. So subtopics can also be broken into 2 categories, right? Types of second chances. I'll probably have community colleges as second chances. I'll probably have K through 12 second chances. Gateway to college. So breaking up those subtopics also helps, and then I'll collect evidence specifically about Gateway to college. I'll put it underneath this category, and I'll put community college information. I want to keep all my similar ideas together, okay? So here is this template that will help you organize your subtopics and the related evidence. As you go, it's nice to color code your sources too, right? You have your different sources here. Put down this information. This will help you with the works cited. And then keep the evidence in that color, okay, as you add it to your outline. That will help you make sure your paragraphs are balanced, that you have a variety of evidence, and trust me, it will really facilitate the writing process. So to start writing your own notes in your outline, what you do is you just go here, File. At the top, you go to File, Make a Copy. You say, My outline. Once you make a copy, you'll have this same exact template here, and you can start typing on it, okay? So that's what you need to do for your notes and your outline. Gather evidence, compile it under different subtopics, and write down all of your works cited information in different colors. This will help you stay organized, okay? This is probably the most important step of the research process. So I'm just going to give you an example of sorting your evidence. So I've collected some evidence here about the benefits of second chances, and I'm just going to copy and paste it onto my outline. So this from Zhao, this idea is from Yong Zhao, and it corresponds to the meaning of second chances. And I've got another definition here of what it means to have a second chance in education. I'm going to put that there. I don't just want information from Zhao, I want a variety. So I'm going to go back and find more evidence, right? But Zhao has a lot of good ideas. He also talks about the effects of second chances. So I'm going to add that as well, these 2 points here. So I'm going to add them here. And it's color-coded. So down here you'll see that I made this Yong Zhao right here. He's in red. So every piece of evidence from Yong Zhao,